Glad to be here. I've been in Pottstown the last few days. Had an awesome turnout for the kids clinic. I know some of them are playing today, and there's going to be a few of them playing tomorrow, I think, in the quads. So what a great turnout for the kids, and I'm excited that we were able to bring such a big juniors tournament here, because this is a great event. This is my first time to Pottstown, and just to see the amount of people here, to see the setup when I came in at around 11:30 is amazing, and the volleyball has been really fun to watch. Plus, I think there's more in shape people here than I see at the beach. So, and I notice there's not many in the beer garden, so maybe that's why. I'm not sure. But I want to do a Q&A. I was supposed to play an exhibition, but I have a knee surgery scheduled for Thursday. This has been problem knee for me. I tried to play a few weeks ago. It got swollen, and I couldn't bend it. Swelling's down, but I have a knee surgery coming up this Thursday. So unfortunately, I can't beat up on whoever I was going to be on the other side. But maybe next year. I would love to play in this event when I'm healthy and ready to go. And hopefully you guys will have me back, because this is fun. Even as a spectator, it's what the crew does here, what the guys put on is nothing I've ever seen before. So hats off to you, and everybody behind the scenes is working hard for you players. But I want to field questions. If you want to ask me questions, if you don't and just want to stare at me, I'm fine with that too. Whatever you want. This is your time. I will go around with the mic. So ask any question you want, and I will be happy to answer. So if you raise your hand, I'll come around. I'll get to you. Eventually, just stay up. Any questions here? Okay, got one over here. If I don't jog, I'm sorry. I will speed walk.
Who do you look up to as a volleyball player?
Who do I look up to as a volleyball player? Pretty much it's everybody, because I'm only 5'8.5", so everybody I'm looking up to is like 6 foot. But no, both my parents played volleyball, and I was raised around the game. I grew up at Santa Monica Pier, and I have lived in Southern California, so for me, beach has always been a game I've been around. Both my parents played, so my dad was a very heavy influence, and my mother as well. But I grew up around the greats, Liz Messakine, Karch Karai, St. John Smith. I know the whole Smith family. Holly McPeak, I played with in my first Olympics. I grew up watching her play as a little kid, and then I was standing side by side with her. And yes, I was the blocker on that team. So I had a lot of great players to watch. But indoor, I did play indoor too, and one of my, she's like a second mom to me, is Debbie Green, who stepped for the indoor 1984 Olympic team. They got a silver. She was my coach in college. But, you know, if any of you followed volleyball back in the day, there was a player from Cuba named Maria Louise who was about 5'8" and had a 40-inch vertical, and she was somebody that I admired when I was playing indoor.
How old were you when you started playing volleyball?
How old was I when I first started playing volleyball? Funny thing is, I'm sponsored by Spalding, and my first volleyball I ever learned with was Spalding. I grew up playing with Spalding volleyball. But actually, the first volleyball we had was when the Spaldings get old. My parents cut, my dad who's here, actually cut the leather off, so the bladder inside of it was very much like a balloon. And that was my first volleyball. And so I got to play in the house over the coffee table, but it was like a balloon. So my first volleyball was kind of like a balloon, and then I graduated to a heavier ball. But I started playing volleyball, passing the ball at the beach. I underhand served, but I entered my first tournament with my dad when I was 8. And we played big court here, and my dad would cover the whole court, and this is where I would stand. And I just bumped the ball up, and he hit over. Now, because he's 72, I play back here, and I stick my dad up at the net, and we play. Questions over here? don't have the winning Powerball numbers, so don't ask that. All right, here. Coming over.
Which Olympics was your favorite?
Which Olympics was my favorite? They're all very special. Athens, obviously winning your first gold medal and winning your first gold medal in your sport on the women's side, indoor or beach, is something very special. But that medal is about the size of a quarter now, looking at it, compared to the London Olympics. Beijing, so that was very special. But I only had one my dad was there, so I had one family member there. Beijing was special. I had a lot more people there. I thought actually that would be my last Olympic Games. I thought I was gonna have a family and kind of move on. And plus we had lost to that Chinese team before. So that made it even sweeter when we faced them and were able to beat them. That one has some jade on it, and I never knew there was a white jade. So Beijing was special because I actually got out. I went to the Great Wall and I had more family there. But I have to say London was the best because I knew it was my last hurrah. We were complete underdogs, you know, not the heavy favorites going in. I get goosebumps talking. I'll have to shave later. But that made it special, plus everybody was there. So London was fun. Plus, it was easier on my family because everybody spoke English and they were able to get around and visit. So.
What's your favorite food?
What's my favorite food? Well, when I got here, I always crave Mexican food when I'm coming back from road trips, just because a lot of the countries we play in, they don't like spice, so I always crave spicy food. So Mexican I always stop at there. But if it came between anything and prime rib and a baked potato, I gotta go with prime rib and baked potato. That's just how it is. So. Okay. What's my favorite drill? Okay, because I like defense, and plus I play a lot of defense all the time. I like coach on one, and I always finish my day with coach on one, and I gotta touch 10 balls that are thrown all over the court because it's a challenge. And it's about that time your legs are just completely fatigued. You think you can't get to it, but that could be the game changer in a match. It's getting that one ball up that nobody else thinks you can, but you've put in the work to make it happen. So to me, coach on one is one of my favorite drills, but I also do, obviously the court we cover is 3 feet smaller on each side. But another drill that I like to do that I do with my dad is I'll stand in the middle and it's server versus passer. So I gotta get 10 balls and I'm passing the whole court so they can serve wherever they want. And then that gets you knowing that no matter where you are, you can pass the ball. I can pass the short ball over there. And now when I'm on my side, I've got less court to cover and all that. So it's really pushing yourself, but I like coach on one and then where I cover the whole court by myself. It's amazing, I haven't tripped over the line yet. Happened a lot the other day. My legs got tired.
What's the worst weather condition you ever played?
What's the worst weather condition? We played in snow. In Tahoe it was snowing. The week before a bear had come to the casino, but we did play in snow. We played, 2 of my favorite stops are in Austria and Switzerland. In Switzerland, you have the Swiss Alps in the back. And we've played where it's freezing rain, winds blowing, you can't feel your feet, can't even dry your clothes out in between matches. You know, we play in the long stuff, so you're freezing the whole time, and that gets hard to play. But unless there's lightning, and it used to be unless there was lightning, now it seems like unless there's lightning striking next to the court, they don't stop the matches, but that would be the worst we played in. Actually, there was another tournament. Holly and I always had to play in the qualifiers leading up to the 2000 games, and I know they're having floods in Canada now, We played in Toronto, and they didn't have a very good drainage system on their courts. People were playing in trash bags because it hadn't stopped raining, and there were puddles this big. So it was a matter of who could bump the ball. I mean, you underhand served, you couldn't hit the ball. It was whoever could bump the ball over, and that was the qualifier. I mean, you're walking through puddle, like, you'd have a puddle in the corner, so that was pretty interesting.
When you were training for the Olympics, how many days or hours were you training?
When I was training for the Olympics, Carrie and I, well, the training for the Olympics starts after the last one ends, basically, for me. Just because I like to stay one step ahead. I don't want to give any room to my competition to get better than I can become. So when I make a choice to go for the Olympics, as soon as that last ball falls in 04, I'm already training for 08. So during the off season, we train a little differently. Usually from November to February, I won't touch a ball. I really focus on getting physically conditioned. But during preseason and during season, Carrie and I are on the sand 5 or 6 days a week for 2 hours together. And then we each have our own separate trainers. So I will lift another 2.5 hours, 3 days a week. And then have physical therapy or whatnot on those days. And then on the off days, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I have a track workout usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or depending on what my track coach says. So I have an hour track workout, and then I go practice for 2 hours. Then I have Pilates in the afternoon and massage. On usually Thursday or Saturday, I have a hill workout for an hour. So I run hills. I was a track runner, so track is very important for me to learn how to run because you have to be efficient when you're playing the game. And the more efficient you can be, the more court you can cover in less time. So it's very important for me to stay conditioned running. So it's